guys, welcome back to the channel Opinions Matter. And guess what we are going to do today? We are going to show you the iFLIGHT CINEBEE 75 HD. This video is right now actually shot using the camera because the drone has got smart audio also, which means apart from recording your video, it also records your audio, and it shoots at 1080p at 60 fps. So I thought, I will show you all the way around it, the problems I faced. Is it the perfect drone? There are a lot of questions to answer. So let's quickly jump in and try to keep this video under 10 minutes. Let's begin. This was my recent purchase, which I made going through a lot of reviews and everything. I invested on that iFLIGHT CINEBEE HD. Good thing about the iFLIGHT CINEBEE is this guy, the camera of it. So when I move the lens, this is a Caddx Turtle camera with built-in ND filter, which is made up of glass. And if you guys notice properly, this can be tiltable, so you can actually move up and down. And the good thing also is that it shoots 1080p at 60 fps. Now when I move to the back, it also has a slot out here. There's a tiny slot out here which will show you where you can actually install the micro SD card. So if you want to install micro SD card, it's going to be located right out here in this section. All you need to do is take this out and then pop your SD card in. Okay, so the next also very important stuff is what about the ESC and the controller? Well, this is an all-in-one stacked controller. So it's the iFLIGHT Sussex version 4, which means all your ESCs and everything is inside this one controller and one unit. So it's a stacked up controller. So you have got 3 stacks and your VTX is on the top. Now I did buy the FrSky version, so the receiver is XM Plus receiver, guys. So it's not XSR or anything. My version is an XM Plus, and in the beginning I was facing a lot of problems with binding. So make sure you guys know this. There is, when you turn the craft around, and if you're buying the FrSky version, the bind button is right out here on the top. So I don't know whether you guys can see. Again, I'm going to show you that the bind button is right out here. Okay, so keep on holding that. When the lights go red and green, that means it's ready to bind. If you're using an FrSky controller, if you're using Spectrum or anything, go and watch some other videos where they show you how to bind this controller to your radio. There are a few mods that I did. So as you can see, this antenna which comes from your FrSky receiver, these were coming off loose. So what I did was that I hot glued them so that it doesn't come off. So now you will see that even after multiple crashes, these tubes will not come off at all. So they are very, very snug fit to the craft. Now also another thing is that this is your TX antenna. So your VTX antenna, this part also comes out. So which means that I had to hot glue this section also. Alrighty, now a few more things, guys. This is a ducted propeller. So the stock comes with GEMFAN props. Now these GEMFAN props are good. They are slow flyers or anything, but this will not give you enough of thrust. If you want more thrust or anything, you have to use the HQ props. These are the tiny HQ props, as you can see right now. 4-bladed props. So basically these are 4-blade props, and these are 4-bladed props means they will generate enough of thrust. Now they are supposed to be very, very high quality, which means they are very well made, right? But I actually had broken these props just by gently touching the side of when I was flying indoors, just a gentle touch on the wall, maybe not even few inches from the ground. It was a gentle touch when I was trying to bring this to land, and well, it broke everything. Now you might be seeing what are these paddings, because these guys take LiPo 3S and LiPo 2S. Now I would not recommend you 3S if you want to have a JELLO free kind of a flight, and I'm going to show you some problems with this also, which I am facing. I know a lot of you pro pilots are not facing this problem. But I went and bought some 450 milliamp batteries, and these are 7.6 volt batteries, and at 80C and 160C, or whichever way you want. Highest voltage, these are HV batteries, so this is 4.35 high voltage battery. Do remember, whenever you're picking something like this, you do have to invest on a charger. Nobody told me that, and I was like, stupid. I know that I was wrong, and this is from personal learning. I learned that you have to invest on quality chargers so that you can balance charge all of these two LiPos. Now, apart from that, you'll be seeing ducted props, but look at this carefully. So you will see one of these propellers actually broke. So what I did was that I added special paddings to it so that I knew that these were the weak points and they should not break. But what happened yesterday was when I was doing a flight outdoors, one of these broke. So remember this, grab extra frames. You'll be going through a lot of frames. The bad thing about this is that it cannot even handle like 2 knot winds or anything. So though it's an outdoor drone, but if you're living in an area like Los Angeles and you have a lot of winds all the time, this drone might not be an ideal solution for you. So I did put a padding on the top. So as you can see, there is a special foam padding so that I can actually mount my battery on the top and my battery doesn't slip away. So this padding does not allow my battery to slip at all. Otherwise, if you're not putting padding, the battery will slip and your craft will deviate according to that. So make sure you put a padding also on the top. Now the bottom frame on this started breaking on the second day after second landing on soft grass. So which means that there was a lot of breaks and stuff like that. So I actually had added this padding. Do not block these vents. Let these vents to be open. So the vents were not blocked. And after that, if you have, you can do tunings and everything just by connecting to the micro USB out here. So again, I'm going to show you, this is the micro USB section. You plug it in and tune. As you can see, my craft is pretty dirty. Do get the black version of it, otherwise it's going to look all this like this messed up. Now we are going to go to our Betaflight and I will show you some tunings and what I did with those tunings. For some reason my RSSI is stuck at 49 because there is no telemetry output out here. So I don't know why this is happening, but let's see some tunings. Okay, so let's connect the craft. So setup. In setup, as you can see, my RSSI is showing for some reason 50%. Now if you guys know, please help me on this because I just cannot find any way around with this RSSI going up or anything. Ports, you have your VTX, which is IRC tramp. Make sure you are putting it UART1. That's how you're going to put your ports in. Then we go to configuration. It's a props out configuration, so that's going outwards. D-Shot 600, which means it doesn't have any beeper, which means so whenever your craft gets lost or anything, it's going to use those the D-Shot 600 kind of feedback, like where your craft is lost. I did set arming angle is set to 180. This is stock. The barometer was turned on, but I turned off barometer. 8 kilohertz gyro update frequency and 2 kilohertz. Okay, I'm good with that. RSSI analog, RSSI input. There is no analog input, so do not turn this on. S-bus receiver, and we have got so that's fine out there. So telemetry output is okay. We got that one also. Okay, so I think I had turned this off, which is ESC sensor, but this is not a KISS or Bill Heli 32 ESC telemetry sensor. It is a different sort of sensor, so I'm going to keep the same thing as that, and rest all of these remains the same. I did not change anything on those. Power voltage, I've kept it to 3.2. So as you can see, I've kept it to 3.2, and failsafe is set to drop. So if anything happens, it drops, it doesn't land or anything. Channel feedback auto. Hold means the last good value received. Angle beeper. aux 7 is the RSSI, so we're keeping that in aux 7. Pid tuning, I didn't go through any of these pids. Ideally you can set this rate up to 0.8 if you want, but I didn't do any of this. It depends upon how you're flying. I'm keeping it at 0.7, and that's how it came, which means that it's going to be a very slow flyer. So that's what it shows. Receiver, I've set this up to TAER, and my RSSI channel is aux 7. You can actually, go through with your Taranis X-Lite, see which channel is showing you maximum strength for that RSSI. I did not find anything, so help me on that with the RSSI. Modes, we do have angle, arm, beeper, and that's pretty much it. And then comes the OSD part. Now in OSD, you will be seeing my OSD is a little bit crazy because I've got my RSSI out here, flight time out here. I've got my single battery readout and double battery readout, and we got NTSC out here, and that's it. And you can also go and dump your CLI before you do any sort of changes and save it in a .text format. Alrighty, now we will talk about the flight test. So at first, these are with the GEMFAN props, which were like tri-blade props. I was expecting no JELLOs at all. But even when I was wearing my FPV goggles, I could observe this JELLO. So if you see the horizon, you'll see that everything is shaking. There's a lot of JELLO going on. Now, wind speed is not much, like because we have a tracker in the field that because we have helicopters and small, RC flights fly. So they have trackers, and wind speed was like 2.5 to 3 knots that day. So and I was like, at first, let's fly stabilized mode, and it didn't perform that good. So this is a second flight again, and this is in Acro, and I'm trying to fly it in Acro, but for some reason it keeps on like going away with the wind, though it has been named as an outdoor flyer, but I think it's mostly indoor or outdoors if there is not a lot of wind. So I tried to attempt this just to show you guys that there is 60 FPS, which means that now you can slow down the shots. And I'm going to redo this whole footage again because I'm going to get prop replacement. So that was 60 FPS. So I took and slowed down that shot a bit. But there is a lot of JELLO, and I think it is primarily because of those GEMFAN props. And I had consulted before. My HQ props broke, and as you can see, I was trying to bank and go in, and suddenly I had to avoid the obstacle. And watch this, I just bring it back and something happens, like even at a lower voltage with the 2S battery, it seems like like there is need of a different sort of prop. And I think GEMFAN props are absolute no-go. And if you think that this is JELLO free, nope, it is having a lot of JELLO right now. I am going to redo this whole thing again with HQ props, and I think props will make a lot of difference. I'm flying this again in Acro, and I'm not that confident enough to go through those obstacles, even though this my craft is very tiny, just because sometimes I'm losing VTX. I'm trying to see how much altitude I can reach. My RSSI strength was around about 48, 49. It's not dropping, but it was always showing 49. Yes, not at all a very good experience, but with my Tiny Hawks Emax, I had an amazing freaking experience, and that led me to FPV, and I was like, nah, let's get this iFlight CINEBEE. Now out here, I was trying to bring it back, and as you can see, I'm flying it line of sight right now. For some reason, the quad keeps on going back, and I'm full throttle, and it's struggling so much. I'm even at full throttle, and there you go, there it falls, and it breaks the small part that you can see right now. It breaks the frame. So that was my experience.